Today we're going to use Blender to model a can. This can be used for various things from product animations and stills to assets in larger projects. Let's break it down. So to start out, we're going to open a new general file. We don't need this cube or the light and camera, so hit A to select all and delete them. Next, use Shift A to add a circle. Click Numpad 7 to get a nice top view. We're going to zoom in and tab it into edit mode. Then go ahead and select the left 9 vertices. Next we'll hit EX to extrude this out to the left. Then click Ctrl R to create some loop cuts. Now we'll use Alt, then Shift Alt to select the edges of the circle and F to fill it in. Next, we're going to extrude out the edges of the shape, so again use Alt, then Shift Alt to select all the outside edges. Now that they're all selected, we'll hit ES and pull this out a bit. So now we've got the shape. This is where the tab of the soda can would sit. We want to make this into a dip. So we'll use this whole outside edge that's already selected and hit GZ to move it along the G axis. And just give it a little bit of a dip. You can see from the side now that this is looking right. Now hit Shift A again to add another circle, and we want this one to be 38 vertices to match the number of vertices around the edges of the shape we just made. We'll scale that up with S and then use GX to scoot it along the X axis and center it with the tab area. Now you'll want to add the outside edge of the shape to your selection, so Shift Alt and left click the edge, then come up to the edge menu and select Bridge Edge Loops. Now we have the top of the can, and it looks decent so far. Now let's build the body of the can. So select the hold circle edge with Alt left click, and we'll extrude this and pull it up with EZ, scale out the next edge with ES, back down with EZ, and we'll scale this next bit in with ES. Now the whole top of the can is done. We're going to keep extruding down to build the body. So EZ, then use S to scale out. Extrude down, EZ to about here. One more time for the bottom, and we'll scale this in. Now you have the whole can, except the bottom is open, so just hit F and fill that in. Then I to inset. We'll use GZ and pull it up a little bit, and then we'll just do that again. I, then GZ, and I'm gonna just inset this one more time. So now you've got your basic can shape, and if you tab into object mode, right click and hit shade smooth, then you can go around and see this can looks pretty good, but it's not perfect. So we're just gonna add in some loop cuts to tighten up the shape a little bit. So Control R to create a loop cut and just slide it up to where you want the edge a little sharper. Control R. Control R, and just go around your can, make sure you tighten up all those edges. That way when you go back into object mode, these edges are a lot sharper. And it's looking a lot better overall. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So next, once the shape is all done, you'll want to put some color on your can. So we'll do that by creating a new material. So let's go over here to the Material tab, select New Material. Let's call this Top of Can. We're going to turn up the metallic to 1 and the roughness down to about 0.3. Now when you go to the shading viewport, you can see that this can is looking pretty metallic, but it's doing the whole can and we want a label on there. So first we'll have to mark a seam so that the UV unwrap can do a better job on the label area. We're going to go to the back side and use Shift to select all the edges in a line in the area where the label will sit. Then we'll right click and choose Mark Seam. This gives the UV unwrap an idea of where to open up your can for labeling. Now let's switch to UV editing, swap to face select and wireframe view. And just select only the middle faces where the label is going to be. Try to avoid the top and the bottom of the can here, which we want to keep metallic gray. Then we'll open up a new material, select Add, New, and we'll name this one Label and hit Assign so that the software knows we want this material assigned to the selected faces. If you don't have an image, you can use the base color to change up your can. We'll turn the metallic up to 1 and the roughness down just a little less than we did for the top. And now you've got a nice red can, or whatever color you chose. Now if we want to have an image here, we'll hit Image Texture and you'll get this black can because an image hasn't been assigned yet. So once again, we'll go to Wireframe, hit Numpad 1 for a nice side view, and reselect this label area. Then we'll unwrap the faces by clicking U and unwrapping. Now you can see on the left here that the faces have been unwrapped, but there's still no image. So go up here on the left and choose Open. Go ahead and find your label. Now it's still not showing up on the can because we have to assign the image to a material. You'll do that by choosing the image icon in your Materials tab and selecting this image. Now you can see it's on there, but it's kind of out of whack. So we just have to adjust the UV so it shows up properly on the model. So we'll click A on the left to select all, then rotate 90 degrees, then use G just to move it around and center it, and scale the image to make it fit onto the mesh. Now you can see it looks alright, but there's some weird mirroring at the top and bottom. Just come over to the material menu and where it says repeat, go in and change that to extend. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Now, the back of the can isn't important on this one because we only need the front view, but if that'll matter in your model, make sure the image you use matches your UV width. So there we have it. Nice looking can. Label's nice and shiny. Everything looks nice. Congratulations on building your first can. Make sure you like this video if you learned something and subscribe to see more tutorials like this. And as always, take care of yourself and each other.